While most people are still asleep, the fishermen here have already been working at sea for many hours. What time did they leave? And after a long night on the water, what will they bring back today? Hello, I'm Mỹ Dung. I have read most of the comments on my previous videos. I noticed that many people were interested in the lives of local fishermen and how they work here in Vietnam. That is one of the reasons I decided to make this video. The beach I'm going to today is about 20 kilometers from my home. So I need to leave early if I want to see the fishing boats return. It is still very dark outside. My camera cannot capture the road clearly at this time, so I will put it away and start riding. I will show you the road on my way back when it is brighter. I have just arrived. I am quite surprised because even though it is still very dark, there are already so many people here. Some of the fishing boats return early, and the baskets of fresh fish are already being sold by the shore. There is not enough light yet, so you may not be able to see everything clearly, but I still want to show you this moment so you can see what an early morning here is really like. The accent here is quite distinctive. People in central Vietnam, especially in coastal areas, often speak with a strong local accent that can be difficult to understand. Even Vietnamese people from other regions may not understand every word, but this is part of the local character of this area. There are many different buyers here. Some are traders who buy larger quantities and resell the fish elsewhere. Others only buy a small amount to take home and cook. There are also tourists who come to look around and buy fresh seafood directly from the shore. The prices usually do not vary very much between different buyers. Because it is still quite dark, many people use headlamps or handheld flashlights to see more clearly. This is not a permanent market, so there are no large lights like you would find in a regular market. People simply gather here and begin buying and selling as soon as the basket boats come ashore.
Một là cúng bà, một cúng bà. Nhỏ nó khai thuốc chưa? Ơi là ồ quá.
When the larger fishing boats return, they cannot come all the way to shore because the water here is quite shallow. So the fish are transferred into smaller basket boats. These basket boats then carry the fish from the larger boats to the shore.
Nè, đâu khi mua 6 ngàn lên rồi.
Cái này dấu là ấy rồi nè.
Bé tẻ 15, bé cho khách gì Quynh ơi? Quynh.
Nhiều hả?
Hai, bé đôi 2.000 này.
200 ngàn, 15 ngàn được rồi.
15 ngàn đứng mất hả? Bao tẻ đậu tẻ đâu cô à? Đậu tẻ rồi.
150 được rồi.
Dạ không.
150 đây hết đi.
Rõ rồi mấy cái này hả? Đậu tẻ.
Em có tài khoản em thì mấy bạn thì dạ đây bụng nó đủ nhiêu triệu để cho nó có một con dây thành chữ cái nó có tài khoản không bay chứ nó bán nhiêu bán cái đậu ha.
It is much brighter now. I can finally see everything more clearly than when I first arrived. The basket boats are still coming ashore, carrying fish from the larger boats further out at sea. The whole area is becoming busier as well. Some of the fish traders also help carry the baskets of fish ashore. They usually want to see the catch as early as possible, so they can choose the freshest baskets at the best price. They will then resell the fish and hope to make a profit. If you find this video interesting, please share it with your friends so more people can learn about the lives of the fishermen here. Your support really gives me more motivation to keep making videos like this. Crabs and prawns are usually much more expensive than the fish sold here. These are priced at around 500,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram, which is about 19 US dollars.
Cua lâu lâu gặp cua mày một mang mà lấy đâu mày nãy giờ mày chưa lấy rồi mày không rõ con số thì không con số cơm đây là nước cơm luôn hay
Cân luôn.
nó lỡ là lấy trong 6 làng luôn nha. Này 6 làng được không? Cho nó lỡ cỡ.
Hết.
6 làng. Không, 424, 240 em cũng không biết đâu.
She invited me to buy some, but at this price, it is quite expensive for my income, so I decided to just have a look. The two tourists next to me are buying some.
Ăn gì em? Hả? Ăn gì chị?
690 à? Đúng không?
Hai con. Con đi đâu có đúng đâu. Ngon, ngon không? Đây, ngon này. Con có được ký, biểu sao con cái nhiều. Con được ký hay không?
Ghét sơn. Cái này nấu ngọt nên nhắm nó nhìn ngon cho ăn ngon. Rất là ngọt.
Bỏ đi mua gì chợ, cái nhà con ta mua, thì còn hồi nãy nó không có. Bỏ đi sao, con đi. Đây, mua gì hả bố?
Out there is Kulao Mainha, a small island that is quite well known in this area. Local people offer boat rides to take visitors from the shore to the island. I do not live very far from here, but I have actually never been there. From what I have learned, the island is still quite wild and natural, without much development or urbanization. Maybe one day, when I have the chance, I will visit it and make a video for you.
Chị ơi, đi ra đó là nhiêu tiền?
Chị đi mấy người?
Hai.
Hai người thêm đó chị 400 đi với đâu cũng được.
Ra đó ăn uống mình tự tụng.
Đúng rồi. Cao bé đâu ăn đầy đủ.
Dạ, để em nói chồng.
Ở đây.
Đúng này, nấu chột. Chị bóng đâu?
Đây, bóng đây.
60.000, 60 ke. Một ke con gì em ăn không đủ. Ok, mày lại đâu đủ từ cho bé ăn đủ 400 ngàn.
Đây.
Rồi chị.
60 ngàn lắm.
Ăn ở đây rồi đây.
Ông đang lấy cái túi của ông đang.
Em ăn cua em.
Không có túi à?
Biết.
Đang béo ơi. Đang ơi. Đang béo ơi.
Không, bà nói đúng á, tại vì cái dây đó là chính trong cái đây xe đâu cháu nó không thấy. Không thấy cho.
Đâu có nghĩ ra là ai cắt ra chi.
Tại mấy con cá nó còn nguyên kia nè, ai đâu cắt. Mà cái con nó chặt mấy con cá nó bên chưa cắt lắm mà. Đi bán cá nào ở đây em?
Chưa còn mua.
Ở đâu? Em là canh nhá, là canh vậy. Canh đâu, canh phải xuống nơi chưa mẹ? Mình
Cầm bưng mất cái hối chứ nào kẹo không luôn. Kẹo xuống lấy không á. Cho tầm 78 ta cầm lấy đâu á. Đâu.
cô lấy cho tôi lấy.
I'm going to buy some prawns and cook them for lunch so I can show you later, but I'm only buying the smaller ones. The larger prawns are quite expensive here, so the smaller ones are a better choice for me. These prawns cost 250,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram. I am only buying 200 grams, which is enough for my lunch. The total comes to 50,000 Vietnamese dong, or about 1.90 US dollars.
Đây nó ngon hơn. Đây thì nó tươi hơn. Nó tươi hơn xíu, còn mấy con đây là ngon này, mực đây mực mình này, mực mình.
Đây nhiêu?
Đây nhiêu biết đâu.
Giờ bán 500.
Quê! Mực đây nhiêu?
Cái thằng đó hả? Cái thằng đây hơn 24.
I still have 50,000 Vietnamese dong left. The squid looks very fresh, and seeing how hard everyone has been working since early morning, I felt a little sorry for them. So I decided to spend the remaining 50,000 Vietnamese dong on some squid. I will save them for tomorrow's meal.
Mà đây mới 50.000 không à? Không, không mới đậu đậu. Mày cầm đậu nó chết. Kêu rửa rồi mình đỡ nào vô đâu mày. Cất sụp đáy luôn à. Nó mới 50 là được đâu. Cầm vô nãy đây 1 ký nữa.
Cho cái mập bỏ cái 2 ký nữa.
Là 2 ký. Thì ta cầm vô 2 ký không phải ơi.
Looking at this view, I still feel very lucky. Even though I am currently unemployed and living alone, I can still wake up, watch the sunrise, and enjoy a peaceful morning like this. For me, that is already something to be happy about.
Cây 2 kiện nhiêu nè, cây 2 kiện nè. Nha, xong trước nha.
The whole family is now working together to remove the fish from the net. Looking at this simple net and this small basket boat, it may be hard to believe that this is their main source of income. Every trip to sea directly affects the livelihood of the entire family. One by one, the basketballs are coming ashore. I can clearly see the smiles on the women's faces. Perhaps it is not only because the catch is good today, with plenty of fish and large prawns. It is also the happiness of seeing their husbands, sons, and brothers return safely after a long night at sea.
Rồi để thịt ống đó, em có thịt ống không? Each basketball usually has the owner's name, address, and phone number written on it. This helps people identify which family it belongs to. If the ball is ever lost or drifts away, whoever finds it can contact the owner and return it. He is lying down on the sand to get a little rest. After spending the whole night out at sea, he is probably very tired. Right next to the beach, there is a small area with homestays, local food stalls, and places for visitors to sit. As you can see behind me, everything is still quite simple and not heavily developed. Even though this is a tourist spot, it is about 30 kilometers from the city, so it is still not widely known. Even many Vietnamese people have never heard of this place. Perhaps that is why the beach still feels quiet and natural. The cost of living here is generally quite affordable, especially if you know how to manage your spending. So, if you are thinking about coming here for a holiday or even retiring here, you do not need to worry too much about the cost. Compared with the larger cities, living expenses in this area are much lower.
I really like this place, even though the beach is only about 30 kilometers from my home. I do not usually have much reason or the means to come here often. Most of the time, I choose the beach closer to my home, like the one you saw in my second video. But if you enjoy this video and continue supporting me, it will give me more motivation and a better chance to come back here. I hope that one day I can take a boat to Pulau Mina and make a video about the island for you. On the way home, I passed a small market selling many different breakfast dishes. Everything looked really delicious, and to be honest, I was already getting a little hungry. But I had spent all the money I brought with me for today, so I decided not to stop and eat. Instead, I'm going home to cook rice with the prawns I bought earlier.
Bánh họ.
Rau nè.
This is the road I took to the beach early this morning. At that time, it was still very dark, and there were almost no houses along either side because this is a coastal area. My camera could barely capture anything, so I was not able to show you the road clearly when I was coming here. To be honest, traveling alone on such a quiet road made me a little nervous. But I still wanted to make the journey so I could bring you this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you find it interesting, please share it so more people can discover it. You can also leave a comment and let me know how I can make my future videos better. While most people are still asleep, the fishermen here have already been working at sea for many hours. What time did they leave? And after a long night on the water, what will they bring back today? Please join me for this meal, if you do not mind something simple. I live alone, and at the moment, I'm looking for a new job after leaving my factory job. So for me, a simple meal like this is already enough, and it still makes me happy. As I eat these prawns, I keep thinking about the people who caught them. They usually leave for the sea
at around 7 in the evening, and they do not return until about 7 the next morning. They spend the whole night out on the water, and sometimes the work can be dangerous. So today, I want to eat slowly and appreciate this meal a little more. Goodbye, and I will see you again in a new video. I always read the comments from friends all around the world, so please let me know what you would like to see in my future videos. And if you would like to keep supporting me, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel or share this video with your friends and family. Thank you so much.